my fellow aviators and my beloved mechanics. Today's video is titled, Do You Have a Friend? One of the major problems that I've seen in general aviation over the years is that there's no help for us in general aviation. The airlines have whole legal departments and experienced captains that are knowledgeable on how to deal with the FAA and the NTSB. If you're with the big corporate flight department, they have the same. However, if you're in general aviation, and especially if you own your own airplane, you're a business owner running your own business. You're an attorney going to court and going over legal briefs. You're a doctor that's in the hospital all the time. Aviation is not your profession. You have an airplane, and you think that just taking it in for the annual or whatever inspections that it may need is all that you need to do to comply. However, this is a whole profession in and of itself, and if you ever have to deal with the FAA or the NTSB, these guys, their whole life is going through the regulations, which are, for the most part, and we'll cover in another video, are forms of entrapment. They have you. You do not know what you're talking about. You do not even know what's going on. And these inspectors, as you can see from my last videos, they have no problems lying to your face. They have no problems hiding documents and not being there to help you at all. So I would like to just change that. I am offering my services to come out and do flight reviews with any pilot that wishes it. Remember, with the flight review, once you have your license, you're required to fly with a flight instructor and do a minimum of 1 hour ground and a minimum 1 hour flight with a flight instructor every 2 years to keep your license current. Now, on this flight review, I'm planning on traveling throughout the country. I am going to leave my email address where you can contact me directly and schedule a flight review for when I'm out in your local area. And on this flight review, what I intend to go over with you more than anything is the ground portion. Now, in the flying portion, we all can pretty much get through steep turns, stalls, emergency procedures, and short and soft field landings, which are required under your flight review. But mostly what I see lacking is any understanding of how to take care of your logbooks, how to log your flights, especially if you're not a professional working pilot. Now, with the FAA regulations, the Federal Aviation Regulations, there's actually very little that you need to document and that you need to provide to the FAA should they provide any or request any records from you. So on my flight reviews, I'd like to go over what's required in your maintenance logbooks and what is required to show the FAA. I'm also going to go over your pilot logbooks to show you how to prepare your logbooks and have them ready for a ramp check. Also, what documents you need to have in the airplane that, should you have a ramp check, would speed it along and have the FAA inspectors move on to somebody else that's less prepared, because that's really what they're looking for. So anyways, I would love to hear from you guys, and anybody that would like to consider a flight review with me, please contact me at my email address, which is rmriter@gmail.com. And even if I'm not in your local area, I can schedule giving talks or doing something in that area, so I'm out there to help you. Now, another aspect besides doing the flight reviews that I'd like to offer my services is that if you have the FAA dealing with you and requesting records from you and starting an enforcement action, remember that if you hire an attorney, they do not know the Federal Aviation Regulations, and for the most part, it ends up hurting you more than anything. Why? Because the FAA inspectors have no problems making false claims, lying, hiding documents. Your attorney cannot do that. In fact, your attorney is at a terrible disadvantage, and what the FAA inspectors love doing is just throwing out false claims that everybody knows isn't true. They have no intention of following up on these claims or presenting them if you go to an administrative board hearing. And it's just to run up the lawyer expenses on you, which will do more damage to you than any fine or violation that they can give you. In fact, most fines and violations are somewhere in the $11,000, $15,000 range. Your attorney bills, and I've been through this before, just fighting an $11,000 fine can easily turn into $30,000 to $50,000 in legal expenses, and your attorney doesn't really understand what you're even talking about. So I wouldn't recommend hiring attorneys for dealing with the FAA or NTSB, because those inspectors will turn that around on you and have your attorney do more damage to you than anybody else. With me, one thing that I found quite amazing was that going through the NTSB report on Captain Jerome Rennick's accident, is that even when the FAA talks to their own people, they have a representative. Like the FAA inspector that was supposed to be or was inspecting the Oahu Parachute Jump Center, when he was interviewed by the FAA had an FAA attorney representing him. In 30 years, I'd never even been told that we can have a representative other than hiring an attorney, which really isn't a good representative. But right there on the forms that I saw in this NTSB report is representative, and it was either marked blank, declined, or in one case with the Jump Center, they had one person acting as a representative. If you are facing these kind of actions or contact with the FAA or NTSB, please, if you would like a representative that actually has been through this process several times, knows the ropes, knows the regulations, knows what is required and what isn't required, please contact me and I will make my knowledge and my experience available to help you. Now, with that, I hope that you guys are all having a good holiday and Christmas season, and I wish you a good night. Peace.